Already people in the house, let's go. It's your boy J-Ski, Alright, hey everybody. In my effort to actually produce more content, I'm going to be trying to make short videos talking about stuff that I find topical. In the background you can see me and my friends attempting some Company of Heroes 2 gameplay where we fight the AI. We fight the good fight.
The amount of times I've vandalized this house is crazy.
Wait, what? I was debating as to whether or not I should use Company of Heroes 3 beta footage, but it's almost cruel and unfair given the horrible graphical issues the beta had, so it looks really bad.
What the f are they doing?
Anyways, speaking of which, what's the point of this video? Well, so I noticed a disturbing phenomenon between Company of Heroes 3 and Total War Warhammer 3. And that is that both companies seem to be pushing a lot of stuff that the community does not like/want, and seems to be completely tone deaf, which results in these widespread Reddit protests, the great Reddit wars. But usually it's condemning the company for being greedy and seeming to ignore the complaints of the players. In Company of Heroes 3's case, it's the mediocre launch, criminally overpriced package that is Company of Heroes 3, lack of updates, bad skins, implementation of a store page before actual bug fixes, lack of a spectator mode. There's all sorts of problems people have. Total War Warhammer 3's most recent controversy was a $25 DLC, which is up from roughly $9, depending how you cut it. Basically, the long and the short of it is that Lord packs used to be 2 Lords for about $9, and there would usually be an FLC Lord and maybe some additional free things. So the idea that you're getting 3 Lords and it's now $25 is an insane price hike. Legend of Total War put it at 150%, but it really depends how you count the free updates. And I'd like to take a sidebar to say I think there's a very interesting marketing slash psychological effect of having free content updates that launch with the DLC, because it really muddies the water as to what the DLC actually changed, how valuable it actually was. And I've noticed this even from games where it seems to be with the best of intentions, like in Gates of Hell, Ostfront, some of the most major changes actually haven't been from DLCs, it's been from normal game updates, which are free. But in Total War Warhammer's case, usually the FLC is laughably lacking in comparison to the DLC updates, and there are reworks, but if you have more than 2 brain cells to rub together, you've probably pieced together that Total War Warhammer as a series reuses and recycles content whenever possible. So for example, the Dwarves got an item crafting mechanic that was basically just the Tomb King's mechanic, but reworked to be dwarf flavored, and it fits the lore of the game, but you'll see this all the time. In places where if you don't own the DLC, sometimes you can't even tell. Company of Heroes 3, I haven't bought the game because I was extremely disappointed that it did not go on sale for $30 or $20, which is probably the value of that game. Instead remained on sale for like $50 or $55 during the Steam Summer Sale. And you know what, Relic? If I was trying to kill that game, I don't know if I could think of a better way than to just keep it at 60, where no one wants it, because people were warning, run for the hills, retreat! They're pressing the retreat button on this game, okay? You're not gonna sell it. Or console players who want an RTS experience and are usually not catered to. Okay, so yet again, I've gotten into rambling. Point of this video is a phenomenon I'd like to discuss. Now, I drew up a little list here, and the list reads Humankind, Total War Warhammer 3, Company of Heroes 3, Dawn of War 3, and 2 Point Campus.
Damn, I cannot believe I finally graduated after all these motherfucking years.
Now, there are probably more in this, but can you guess what the commonality between all of those games are? Is it the devs? Are they all strategy games? No, actually, they're all published by SEGA. Now, I think there are certain communities, put up a picture of Sonic here. I think there are certain communities that have been well aware of how greedy SEGA is and how almost instantaneous microtransactions enter the picture when they take over as the publisher for a company. When it happened with Total War after Total War Empire, I believe, it happened in the 2010s. Despite what I thought, SEGA actually acquired Creative Assembly shortly before Medieval 2 was released, and Medieval 2 being the Total War Medieval 2 is kind of like the old head, like, those were back in the days of the Total War series, where people pretty much universally agree that it slaps. So the idea that SEGA came in and instantaneously ruined the company is not true. I would like to point out in my defense, however, that SEGA acquiring Creative Assembly was actually what preempted all those awful action games that Creative Assembly attempted to make. And no, I'm not talking about hyenas. Isn't that topical? I don't know if you know this, but the people that make Total War think they can make a looter extraction hero shooter. Look out for that. The DLCs seem to be getting smaller, they seem to get more expensive, and they seem to be more microtransaction-y. But the games are good. So people kind of just left it as is. They did the normal Total War thing, which is to complain when a game launches, and I don't know, you gave them $60. Like, sure, they're really hurt over that. But I bring this up because when I see people talk about Company of Heroes 3, or I see people talk about Total War Warhammer 3, they'll go, Creative Assembly is being really tone deaf here. It's because of inflation, guys. We had to raise the prices. But aren't you the #1 gaming studio in the UK now? Aren't you actually opening a new studio location because you've had such great sales from producing one of the #1 best-selling games on Steam, Total War Warhammer 3? A product that can cost upwards of $150 to even get a baseline of the entire experience. So they say they need to increase the prices because of inflation, but it's the same content, delivered in the same amount of time, with the same level of free update. Then you go to Company of Heroes 3. Oh, they added the game store instead of paying attention to us. These skins are unrealistic. The balance changes are awful. First the Wehrmacht was broken, now the US is broken. Relic, what happened to you? Now here's where I put up my little theory, okay? Because I know me saying that it's because of SEGA is kind of a loaded statement. There's a game on the Steam store page that is an RTS developed by Relic right now that retails for $50 with an optional $20 DLC just to support the devs and constant free updates. All of the updates are free. Now you're probably wondering what this game is. Well, it's Age of Empires 4. Now here's the thing. Age of Empires 4, despite being made by Relic, isn't actually published by SEGA. It's published by Microsoft. What I'm telling you is that there's a game right now that's being published by Microsoft that is less aggressive in its practices than the one being published by SEGA. So what does that say about SEGA? I'll leave that for you to decide, but alas, I've gone on for too long. My point is just that these negative business practices are going to get worse unless the community reaction is stronger. I want to play Company of Heroes 3 to try out the new campaign mode, which seems more like Total War. I'm interested in the multiplayer. I thought, well, this is an RTS game where I could get in on the ground floor and try and be good at it. But then after reading a lot of the posts, it was like, you know what? No. And that seems to be illustrated quite well by the Steam charts page where Company of Heroes 3 is almost being beaten out in player count by one of its predecessors. You're probably thinking Company of Heroes 2. No, it's not Company of Heroes 2. That actually has more players. I'm talking about Company of Heroes 1, as in Company of Heroes 1 that released in 2006. Okay, hi. So post-editing me here. Hopefully I can figure out how to slip this in undetected. But you're probably able to tell that this was recorded in post, and I'd like to explain why. Now, you're not going to believe this. While I was making this video, the Steam Strategy Fest sale started, and of all of the hottest strategy titles, there are a few that are not on sale. And can you guess what they are? 2 Point Campus, Humankind, Total War Warhammer 3, 2 and 1, and Company of Heroes 3. SEGA, stop! I'd just like to reflect and say that I find it funny. I myself made a post in the Company of Heroes subreddit where, I just sort of felt myself. I think it's delusional that they think this game shouldn't be on sale. This game should be on a permanent discount of $30 or $40. I got some really interesting theories and feedback as to why that's the case. My favorite being that they don't want the people that are waiting for discounts to play the game in this state. Like, they want to do a discount later. So when those people buy it, it's a better game and that'll improve the reception. I mean, I can think of a few reasons why I personally disagree with that idea, but then it's also kind of stupid, and for that reason, it's weirdly plausible again. In the Total War, or should I say the Total War Warhammer subreddit, people were actually pretty furious. I think people are more critical of just the whole process. I don't think they're explicitly saying SEGA in the same way that I am now. But they were, obviously confused as to why Total War Warhammer 3 wasn't on sale, or any of the Total War Warhammers, but Total War 3 Kingdoms was. I didn't check out the 2 Point community or the Humankind community, because quite frankly, I don't care very much. I think having such bad PR and then going, yeah, the asking price for all the base games is $180, please. Please, sir, can I have some of your dineros? We need to make budget. We need to build a 4th studio. I don't want to be vindictive, but I'm excited to see what happens. I think that less people are going to scab than they did last time the community freaked out. And nothing against the CA employees that, like the art team. The art team has nothing to do with this. They're just doing their job. I feel really bad for them. Whenever I criticize Company of Heroes 3 and the dwindling player counts, I am, quote, Steam charts jockeying, which means basing it on Steam charts, in a way, but that's just to illustrate for my audience. I am not assuming that just because Steam charts isn't the highest in the world that there aren't other platforms that people play on. The reason that I think the player count is dying is because there are constant posts of like 7-minute long matchmaking. It's like Tarkov, but without the active community. So that's where I base that on. The Steam charts meme is just to entertain my audience. So I'm sorry to anyone who I'm sorry to anyone I offended with that. One final note, one of the people that said this seemed pretty good-natured, but I did get a couple of comments that were like, if you're giving condolences to the people trying to keep the game alive, why don't you buy it and pitch in? Hold on. Can you hear that? I got out of my chair. Let me get right on that. Let me go buy this $60 game and participate. You want me to make some Company of Heroes 3 videos for you too? Anything for you, buddy. Anyways, back to my generic boring rant. Some of the comments I got the kind of obligatory like, cry more, you poor boy. Cry more, you're just upset. Yeah, I'm upset. I'm upset a franchise I played since I was like 7 is dying. Yeah, I'm upset. A lot of people in the community are upset. Oh, I'm sorry, you're not upset. How am I gonna piece this together? No clue. This is my 3rd revision. Coming at you the 31st of August, the very end of the month. Couple quick updates. I cannot believe it, but a 3rd thing happened. Company of Heroes 3's roadmap has been revealed. Now, I don't want to touch on the finer point. There's a lot of stuff that's not even on here, like a surrender button. There's no surrender in ranked play. There are 2 new maps coming by December. One of the maps is going to be a rework, so I don't count that. Going to be a, quote, expansion in December, and they're going to add the replay system. So if you're wondering what that means, the entire Company of Heroes ranked community, there's no replay system, so they've had a heck of a time getting the commentary going. The Fall and Winter roadmap of nothing coming in September.
March, April, May, July, October, November, October.
And then in October, you're getting 1 new 4v4 map, and then like pathfinding, responsiveness, reworked map pings, another tuning update. Let's see here. Nothing in November, and then in December, you're getting an expansion. The people that genuinely enjoy this game are just so like starved of any hope that this is like pretty impressive or significant. I think for most other people, they're going to move on to greener pastures. They may start playing Company of Heroes 2 again. A lot of people seem to have done that. They may play Warno. They may play Gates of Hell Ostfront, Liberation DLC, TLDR. Who knows when that's coming? I think there very much is a place in the RTS sphere for Company of Heroes 3. I think it kind of serves an important purpose. Like, there are people that want to play this, so it's a shame. And in other news in this video, the Company of Heroes Total War video, Shadows of Change did come out before I could release this, and it has overwhelmingly negative reviews. Even Mandalore has reviewed it negatively. A lot of the YouTubers have just said nothing, it seems, if they have negative thoughts and opinions. It is bugged. Kairos has a bugged skill tree. They removed the reveal faction intentions option for Tzeentch factions, but they actually didn't change it for Kairos, so Kairos now has a dead skill point. It's pretty much everything I expected, but I would say save your money. Don't buy this DLC. Nothing significant is coming to any of the factions. The units will probably be very good in ranked play. Maybe if you have a little bit of a versus match with your buddies for the Total War Warhammer 3 campaign. I'm sure that's not like a minority in the player base. But what's sadder than that are the people on the subreddits or the forums or wherever you find them. It's a number 10 bestseller on Steam. And then you look at the other games that are top bestsellers. You've got Rainbow Six Siege, Counter-Strike Global Offensive, Hogwarts Legacy is still beating it out. Yeah, it's a bestseller for today, but today is literally its launch day. None of the other games on that board launched on August 31st. Someone made a post comparing the player count after the Chorfs DLC launched, which was also on a Thursday, and this DLC, and Steam player charts are not the end-all be-all, but people were willfully ignoring the fact that the Chorfs DLC also came out on a Thursday. Like, people were like, well, you know, maybe they're waiting for Labor Day weekend. Yeah, but the Chorfs DLC also launched on a Thursday, and it wasn't a holiday. That was the point. I think I have to take a break from this. All this Reddit diving and reading these comments and listening to these people is too much.
Force Creative Assembly to stop doing that. Keep making fun of them in like a playful sort of manner. Keep comparing them to companies that are doing better. Make comparisons. Point out times when they were doing well and mock them for this garbage they're doing now. Force them to keep doing hotfixes. They've done a couple now, but they might stop if you don't press that. If you sit there and go, okay, Creative Assembly, we forgive you, and you can just go back to charging us more money, that kind of stuff, then all of this was for nothing. Keep making fun of them, and also keep making it clear to them that the amount of content that you got for Shadows of Change was not acceptable.
I had some time to kind of sit and chew on it, and I think it actually is really wild to me that people will like delude themselves into explaining why they paid for a beta. Like, you don't have to be a hater, right? Like me going like, oh, these games are stupid, this thing is stupid, right? I don't need to do, I'm going out of my way to be kind of negative, right? But these people who go, well, Company of Heroes will be really good, and then they'll put it on sale in December and all the people will come play it. Like, yeah, man, sure. I'm sure that's going to happen. I mean, didn't they cut their team? Didn't they announce that they were firing a lot of the Relic staff that are working on Company of Heroes 3? What makes it bizarre is, like, I keep saying this, but I like a lot of this stuff about Company of Heroes 3. Like, I like playing the US and World War II games a lot now. I like the Wehrmacht originally. I think everybody gets into Company of Heroes by playing the Wehrmacht. But in Company of Heroes 2, the US is just really dumb the way that it was designed and implemented. And there's this kind of weird thing where, like, what I've found is that the US generally has an equivalent to most stuff the Wehrmacht had. Like, to an absurd degree. The US had the Johnson rifle, which is very similar to the FG-42, for example. And in some games you won't see it, but in Company of Heroes 3 you will. I think in Company of Heroes 3 they've done a little more to make the Americans more interesting. Because if you can make the Wehrmacht interesting, you can make the Americans interesting. Like I said, they'd very... Anyways, I've gone off topic. If I knew this video would be the 2 to 3 week journey of what it became, I probably would have put more time into trying to tie everything up in a neat little bow. But I just want to say that at the end of the day, there are lots of great games out there. There are other games you can play. If anyone wants, I will recommend you other strategy games that are cheaper and just as good. But at the same time, you know, if you want to buy Total War Warhammer 3 or buy Company of Heroes 3 because you're looking at some of the stuff I'm talking about, feel free. I would personally ask that you don't buy the Shadows of Change DLC because I think it's like an actual waste of money. One other thing I wanted to comment on, there's this like kind of small militia of people in the Total War forums who go, you know what? Because of all the people complaining about the DLC, I went ahead and bought it. Which is like the most petty, like soccer mom Karen move I can think of. A lot of people just say, oh, you already ordered it. But like, let's think of it this way. Maybe they already bought it and they're just lying and trying to make people mad. That's kind of sad in a way. If you're actually going out of your way to buy a $25 like shit DLC to make some people in a subreddit mad, it's like an evil situation. Play the evil music. Alright, gentleman babies. I'm trying to get better at wrapping up my videos, making them a little more aesthetic, but I think I am going to enter a bit of a routine where if I have like a meme video, I might save those for pre-stream, so I can launch those, people will hopefully watch it, and then they can tune into the stream. So you may see me employing that tactic this week if everything goes according to plan. And I may have a surprise announcement either this week or at the end of next week. But if you are following my channel and watch my content, I would really appreciate it if you could share anything you like around. I'm not asking you to share my stuff with random people. Just if there's someone who you think might like my video, please send it to them. Please like, please subscribe, and don't unsubscribe. I'll literally cry. I'll literally sob. Every time someone unsubs, I'm crying for 5 days. Okay, that was an exaggeration. I don't do that.
I'm gangsta. I'm thuggin'. I'm hitting that ass from the back. Love bug. Say this dick just turned her out, and it's a love drug. I'm sticking my tongue all in her ass. Don't budge.